Hello and welcome to Pest in Class, expert voices in pest management. Today's episode is a special one. With the holiday season upon us, I wanted to take a moment to reflect on some of my favorite moments of giving back. This year on Pest in Class, I have had the privilege of learning so much from all of you. Time and again, I have been inspired by how owners and operators find meaningful ways to give back, whether it's to their communities, their employees, or their customers. Join me as I highlight three of my favorite examples of giving back. First, we hear from Suzy Rayner, president of Valkyrie Pest Solutions. She shares her unique approach to going above and beyond in providing exceptional care for her customers. I'm your host, Amanda Salvatore. Let's get into it. I want to talk about this trauma-informed lens. This is something that you're really passionate about and seem to focus all of your energy through that lens. Can you explain to me why you function your business this way and also what it means for those who aren't aware?
So just kind of a super brief definition on it. Viewing people through a trauma-informed lens is viewing them as the person. So you're not looking at their behaviors, you're not looking at the way that they live. You're really just meeting them where they are at and treating them with respect. So you're just trying to make every interaction with them as safe as possible, safe feeling for them, safe feeling for you. And it just helps to get some cooperation going where you might necessarily not. And it gives you a greater understanding and it helps them to trust you. So it's, for me, incredibly important because of my past. I am a survivor of domestic violence and didn't really know how that impacted me and how it really changed the way that I moved through life. And it was all because of the trauma that I'd gone through, that it colored the way I talked to people. It colored the way I took criticism from people. It, destroyed my confidence and made it impossible for me to kind of move out of that rut I was in, and it made me kind of fall into depression. We dabble in drug use and alcohol abuse and just feeling hopeless. And so I always remember how low I would feel. And so when I see people, when they're low, and I know where I'm at now, I just see the possibility in the person and not what they are right now. I know that there's more to them. There's more that they could be.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it goes under the umbrella of we don't know everyone's story. And we don't know what they're going through today, let alone what they've gone through in their life. So it sounds like you're really taking an approach that allows for a good conversation and for positive results to occur.
Absolutely.
So working through this trauma-informed lens, you've done the no prep method, which is a very short list as opposed to the laundry list of things that people need to prepare before you enter into the home. What is so beneficial to that? And also, how effective is it?
The benefit of that process is that when I come to someone's apartment, it looks exactly like how it normally looks. I always tell people that I treat bed bugs and cockroaches kind of like a crime scene. I need to know how this person lives, what's their level of sanitation, what do they think that they could possibly take on as another thing? If I come in and there's huge piles of dishes and there's huge piles of laundry, probably asking them to deal with both of those things, it's not going to happen. So if it's cockroaches, I'm going to ask them to get rid of the dishes. If it's bed bugs, I'm going to ask them to tackle the laundry. And just try and meet people kind of where they're at with the abilities that they're at, and understanding financially it can be a little bit of a difficulty. I've actually even worked with property management companies and said, especially in the instance of cockroaches, hey, how about you skip the treatment with us next time and you pay for this person to have someone come in and help them clean, because that's going to really help a lot more than you pay me to go back in 2 weeks and just do this again. It's the same amount of money, just put it where it needs to be. And this person is just struggling, and it's pest control. It's still pest control, right?
I love that. You're really taking care of the situation in a holistic way, as opposed to I come in, I throw down some bait, I come in and I spray here and I leave. And then I'll come back in a few weeks and start the process all over again. Sometimes you have to really diagnose the problem itself and then treat around that. And I love that you're taking the time to actually get to know these people as well, as opposed to not having them there. You're learning a lot.
Well, and I can often talk with them. So I do find education is such a big thing. I mean, education is huge in this industry. A lot of the times people in this industry don't take the time to talk to people in apartments. They just assume they're not going to listen. It doesn't matter. And my view on that is, even if I tell them and they don't listen, at least I told them that's my job. And I need to respect this person, that they have the capacity to understand what I'm saying and to care about what I'm saying. I think it shows a lack of respect if you don't even you don't even bother. To me, it just feels disrespectful that you just immediately think this person is dirty. They're not going to care. So why are they going to care? Because they can feel that. Why not just make this one little change? And it does make a huge world of difference. And I have such an amazing success rate with it. And not only do I have a success rate with it, but property management companies routinely call us and say how amazing it is to have residents call them and say, thank you so much for sending this pest control company, because they were so amazing and they cared and they showed compassion, and I don't have bed bugs anymore. I don't have cockroaches anymore. And I didn't have to, move all of my furniture and take everything out of the kitchen. But it can be simple.
Next, I sit down with Eric and Kurt Scherzinger of ScherZinger Pest Control. They share how they celebrate their employees and how the challenges of COVID became a catalyst for transforming their company culture. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about that as well, and how you shifted that culture mindset.
For sure. Because I had the joy of taking over as president about 9 months before COVID hit. So
What a time. What timing.
Yeah. So I had to figure out how I was going to continue expressing the changes in a positive format, as well as showing all of our employees that we had their backs and we were supporting them. So what we did was, I think at first it was almost like 2 to 3 times a week video. I wasn't professionally shot. It was just with my camera phone. And a lot of times I was taking the video myself through my camera phone because I didn't want somebody else recording me. So it would be an update, basically reiterating what I had heard from what the restrictions were and how we as a company were going to respond to them or adapt to them. And just being open and honest with them about, hey, this is the real world, but we have your back, and this is how we're supporting you. This is how we're changing. Another cool thing we did was we always, during the summer, like to have a big cookout, and the leadership team got together and we decided that since we couldn't have the entire group together, we went out and we did a mobile cookout. That's what we called it. So we bought a ton of gift cards, food gift cards, and we loaded our vehicles up with drinks. And we actually went out to every technician, gave them a lunch gift card of their choice, and gave them a couple of drinks, and took selfies with all of them out in the field. And we called it our mobile cookout.
I love that so much. I really do. That just shows so much about your personalities and who you are as people, and also just your employees feeling appreciated.
Yes, we got amazing feedback from it.
I bet. I bet.
I
love that.
One story Kurt didn't tell you is he made me get on the roof of our building with him, and he said, I want to prove to everybody we have the best employees in the world. So they said, yell it from the rooftops. So that's what I'm going to do. And our building, we have a huge building, and it was a little scary getting up on the roof. But
it was.
Yeah. So
But you did it. You did it for your employees.
That's right.
Yes. So we yelled from the rooftops, and then And it's kind of we give them all a big thank you bonus for sticking with us through the COVID. And so they all had a couple of days paid in their check that week. So
You guys are absolutely incredible in taking appreciation for your employees to another level that I don't very often hear about. And I know from talking with you previously that your employees really do appreciate that. Can you tell me some of the key elements that contribute to creating a workplace culture where employees feel genuinely joyful to come to work? I know you've done all this, but I know you also communicate with your employees and have a bit of, you really kind of function with this EOS mentality. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so one thing that, Kurt was talking about, the weekly videos. On top of that, we've continued with what's called a GO meeting, or grand opening meeting is what it actually stands for. Every Monday we have, it's not a professional podcast, but it's a Zoom meeting that's recorded that we, people who can get on do, or we record it and send it out to everybody just to give them updates on the company, give them a little funny joke and quick bug fact. They're never longer than 10 minutes, some little motivation, and it's stuff like that. We constantly want to have contact with people, especially out in our branch offices. They can feel like they're secluded. And then, it's just another way to try to bring everybody in together and get them on the same page. But I'll let that roll into how we started the EOS system and put that into play. I'll let Kurt roll into that.
So the EOS system is really it's what's called the entrepreneurial operating system. And it's a way to structure your culture and your meetings. And so prior to us really coming into the business, it was a lot of my dad and the president at the time. It was their big thoughts, and then we'd kind of get pushed down. When Eric and I got up into the leadership, we were like, we need the collaboration of everybody on this team. So we researched it. We had heard a presentation on it, and we thought this is the right way to go, to where quarterly we get together offsite as a leadership team. So it's the top 7 leaders in the company talk about everything. Really, we basically do a strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats internal assessment every single quarter. And then we look at it and we pull out big projects that we need tackled to actually help us continue going in the direction. But it's not just my brother and myself doing these tasks. It's, our operations manager, our HR manager, our office manager, our technical director. They all have pieces of it as well. So they're instituting the change. So then we get more of the buy-in because they're involved in the changes. They're involved in the processes. And it's not just coming from the top anymore. It's truly a collaborative effort. And as a result of that system too, we redefine our core values. And we actually put those in all of our vehicles, and they're on all computers. And the third one's valuing reputation. And we actually decided, instead of having our awards centered around different incentives and that type, we actually give out plaques and trophies geared around those awards. So the service heart is somebody that goes above and beyond their normal call, and they get a big blown glass service heart trophy. Valuing reputation is the person who has the most positive reviews written about them throughout the year. And then the success driven award is the person that actually has the overall best scorecard in the company. So it's not just necessarily the one that has the best sales. It may actually be the one that gets the route done, that had the most upgrades. It's a combination of all the key metrics we want them to hit throughout the year.
That is incredible. I'm coming to work for you guys.
We can find a job for you.
Yeah.
I bet you could. Thank you. And to kind of put a bow on all of this, I know that you had told us a story when we previously spoke about employees recruiting people from just being out and about in town. And I think that just really speaks to how wonderful the company is and how people feel so appreciated. And it's a really incredible shift, and I commend you for it.
Thank you.
Yeah, we have recruitment cards and pay a recruitment bonus, but 2 of the 4 last training class didn't even know who referred them. It was just somebody came up to them one guy was doing landscaping and said, hey, you're ever looking for a job that's, a lot more fun and just told them about working for us, and so that person applied and got a job. It's just those type of things. So it's not even necessarily for the referral bonus, but people see hard workers get good customer service and they're referring people in. So it's nice.
Finally, we have Rian and Noelle Goins from Goins Pest Control and how they're giving back to their community with their passion project, the Keep It Goins Foundation.
I would love to hear about your experience being out with these organizations and why it's so important to you to be so active.
Well, with JAG, I mean, that's for Jobs for America's Graduates. We really want more young people attracted to our industry. So whether we did a STEM program for sixth graders that'll be coming out, this year, later this year, or, attracting folks that young or high school graduates that are like, I'm not sure what I want to do, what other industries are out there that are not typically discussed. That is just so important for us to be in the community amongst everyone,
right?
Which leads to our foundation, why we started that. It's not just, it's giving back to everybody, but inviting them into what we do,
right?
Because what we do, I mean, it's essential, but it's also a luxury. And it's something that you can make money and take care of your family, establish generational wealth. This is something that you can work for a company and start your own.
Right.
It's just, the possibilities are endless in the industry, and we really want to showcase that, and we really want to show that to our youth because they're next up.
Yeah.
They're next up after us. It's like we're really setting them up for a better environment, and the more they know at this age about bugs, and they'll be better in their community. There will be less stereotypical conversations like, oh, you have a bed bug, that means you're nasty. No, anyone can have a bed bug. It has nothing to do with sanitation. These things, these conversations are just so helpful to have when they're young.
Yeah. And being in the associations allows us to work together with the government, which is super important. Like we're a heavy regulated industry and we need to know what's going on. We also need to collaborate with colleagues. And when you're in associations, you get an opportunity to meet other pest control companies from all over the world, if not in your own state. And it just makes for the educational process to be that much more, which I enjoy, learning things that I didn't know. So being involved is only going to benefit you. Like the more you put in, the more you're going to get out.
Yeah, we built so many friendships with other pest control companies. And it's so cool to be out in the field and like, hey, and wave.
Yeah.
I mean, some of you may not know and they're like, are they waving and being nice? Like, yes, what's going on? That part is cool. Yeah. Being involved in associations is so cool because we all really need to be on the same page.
Right.
It's better that we communicate versus just be competition. We really are like a community.
Right.
For real.
100%.
I love that idea of it's not about the competition of it all, but really creating that sense of community.
Yeah.
And there's enough for all.
There's way more than
Way
that. There's
more than
actually too much
Yeah, it really is.
for everybody to get
really
to.
is,
It's the truth.
Yeah, we need more.
Yeah.
I love the idea of JAG and starting in sixth grade. This is something that we talked about where I said high school almost feels too late
Yeah.
to have this, to start this conversation.
Right.
But if you're planting the seeds in sixth grade, when I feel like kids, and maybe this is just me being like back in the 90s, but kind of like opening your eyes to what's next, what's coming next for you, and demystifying and having those conversations, like you said before, about bed bugs and how it's not about sanitation or like getting rid of this stigma. Because that's something that hinders a lot of people as well and holds a lot of people back, I think, from the industry itself.
100%. Like even with those programs, it's not just pest control only, right? You can pest control can lead to product inventions. It can lead to coming up with new process, new technology.
Yeah.
So a trade industry is more than just pest control.
Yeah.
Just gotta open up
we
their
need
eyes.
more technology in
Yeah.
pest control. I mean, AI obviously is everywhere and it's also in our industry, but just definitely more inventions. We got to get creative here.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I have no doubt you guys have a few sketches somewhere being like, we can make this.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
Speaking of not inventions, but projects, if you will,
Right.
I would love to hear about your foundation, how it started, what is it about? I am a huge fan of Keep It Goins Foundation, and I'd love for everyone to hear more about it.
Well, the bedbug job I spoke about earlier actually was the catalyst of inspiration for us to start the foundation, because had that owner not been so willing to cooperate and really help us go beyond the scope of work, it would have been really hard to eradicate that problem from the entire building. So we just said, okay, as we're coming across people who are calling us for inspections, we're seeing the situation, we're seeing the conditions that they're living. Right. We know that some of these infestations are just very expensive. And to tell someone no, or that they don't have enough money to cover it, it's just, we don't want that. We just decided that's not what we want to do. We got to figure this out. So Keep It Goins was born from that one job. We started the process right away. Okay, we got to make this a nonprofit. We got to, keep it going, keep the love going. Let's just get everything that we need to do admin wise. And then we were like, okay, well, we can't wait till this family comes up. Right. How are we going to find this family, or how will they find us? So how it all happened was just praying for who was going to come down our lane that would qualify. Because you do have to ask questions. You know, what is your financial situation? What is your budget?
A lot of vetting.
You do have to do some vetting, but that was completely birthed out of not wanting to tell anyone no that actually wants the problem solved. They don't want it there. And they have other issues on top of that. So we just said, this is just important to us. We're going to figure out a way. And by the grace of God, we got to collaborate with so many people. It wasn't just us. It was other companies and other affiliates that showed up.
Yeah. And just going back to, wanting to help work with Mrs. Anderson, it was such a fulfilling thing that we did, that we're like, how do we pay this forward? And then Keep It Goins came, because we wanted the branding that was internally came externally, right? Yeah. We already had Get Goins. Goins is like a last name that's, you can play off so many different words. And so we got to keep this going. Goins. And it was like, keep it going. So that's literally, it's just played out wonderfully.
Yeah. So we are just grateful to have captured it. I think that was a big part of what we did, because pest control companies have been doing pro bono work. They've been doing things to give back.
Right.
We don't capture it though, because, most of us, we don't want the attention to say, oh, look at me, I did this. But what we saw was, and what we heard was from our associations, as these bills are coming that are to take tools away, that simply the government just doesn't understand. We knew we needed some positive stories to be shown.
Right.
And so that was an opportunity. And thank God this family, Tanisha Clark and her family, we love her so much. We still talk to her.
To this day.
She's like a little sister to us, and she's family. And it meant a lot that she agreed to have the process filmed and to also be on camera, because that can be very uncomfortable. And, we made it very clear, like, this is not to exploit what's going on. 100%. It's more so we want people to know that there is help out there, and you were brave enough to talk about it and to share how much it affected your life and your family, and how a lot of infestations can just simply isolate you from other people.
Right.
So to have a home where people can come in like they just normal, like we're sitting here not worried about bed bugs or anything. But imagine if that wasn't your situation, and you're alone and you're isolated and no one wants to come over, or you don't want anyone to come over because you don't want anyone to know.
Right.
So that just capturing it, to be able to show it, to be able to play it to other people, for the public to see, our government to see, our communities to see.
Right.
We want to do 1,000 times 1,000 more of those, because the more that's out there, the more pest control companies we can collaborate with, not just in California, but anywhere.
Right.
This is something that can be like the Make-A-Wish Foundation is everywhere for kids. Keep It Goins, and may many other nonprofits be birthed from other pest control companies
100%.
because of what we're already doing.
Right.
We didn't invent giving back in this way.
Right.
But may other pest control companies not be afraid to show what they're doing for their communities.
Thank you for joining us today on Pest in Class. We hope you all have a happy and healthy new year. We'll be back with a new episode for you January 7th, 2025. See you then.